Hey guys, Toast here. Many current and former players of the Battlefield franchise like to focus on critiques of Battlefield 1 and ways in which it could be better than or isn't as good as its predecessors. Whether it's weapon balance, class balance, vehicles, maps, we've all been guilty of complaining about certain aspects of the game. I've of course been critical of it at times as well, and while that criticism comes from a place of desire to see the developers produce the best game possible, I think it's worth taking some time to acknowledge the things that Battlefield 1 got right. It helps to put into perspective that while yes, there are certainly things that need to be fixed and still mechanics that either aren't balanced or just don't feel right, there are certainly things that the game does particularly well, and I believe in giving praise where praise is due. So with that in mind, here are 5 things that I feel that Battlefield 1 got right. Battlefield 1 is an absolute treat for the eyes, and I think it's fair to say that DICE really nailed it when it comes to aesthetics. Even on lower settings, Battlefield 1 is an absolutely beautiful game, and it isn't just due to the texture or lighting quality. The overall art design for the game, including the historic designs of buildings and landscapes, to the selected colors or even smaller things like mud caked onto your weapons when you're running through muddy terrain, makes for a visual treat. While Battlefield 3 and 4 were definitely both great-looking games for their times, there's no denying that technology has improved noticeably since their respective releases, and DICE made good use of what was available to them to create the latest iteration of the Frostbite engine, which produced a product that feeds one of the primary senses we use in gaming. Now with that said, we obviously use more than just our sight when playing video games, which leads me to the next point. One thing that the Battlefield franchise is known for is having really powerful and expressive sound design, and Battlefield 1 is absolutely no exception. The audio fidelity of the game is incredible, from the weapon sounds to the roaring of vehicles, to even the ambient noise of the map if you're in areas without any action. One of the most telling attributes of good sound design is that you never find yourself questioning if something is right. Everything just seems to sound correct, and you really don't have to think about it. The interesting thing is that it takes a ton of work to get to the point where people don't think about sound. Every gun sounds unique, but feels as though it sounds like it should, and those unique sounds transfer over to enemies who are nearby, making it easier to anticipate what weapons you're going to come into contact with based on the sound of them. Remember that good sound design doesn't necessarily equate to realistic sound design, and for the style of Battlefield 1, the sound fits pretty much perfectly. Let's take a moment just to listen to the actual sound of the game.
Hier, Munition für dich! Hat jemand Munition bestellt? Mehr Munition!
While you may not like certain styles of weapons or be unhappy with the balance between the weapon classes, beneath those disagreements on style and balance lie the actual shooting mechanics of the game, and in that particular aspect, I think DICE has done an amazing job. Weapons feel very responsive to input, they fire or aim down sight as soon as you click or press the trigger, aiming is smooth and feels accurate to what you're trying to do, and rarely do you get a sluggish feel that some first-person shooters have, or feel that the game is not accurately representing what you're trying to do. And if you're unhappy with a certain aspect of the shooting mechanic, chances are DICE has already got a setting where you can make a modification to it. You can change settings like how much your aim slows down based on your magnification when aiming down sight, and even change whether your field of view is altered when aiming down sight. Whether you like the weapons or how they relate to one another, at least you know that the underlying mechanics are there to make them feel the best that they possibly can. Whether or not you take them for granted, DICE has added a bunch of new animations that are quite interesting and add a lot to the game. The new bird's eye view of the map when selecting your spawn point, which goes right into a dive animation to where you're spawning, is a complete change from the previous system in other Battlefield games, where it would just fade from the map to the first-person view. Animations when entering into ground vehicles gives you a sense of urgency when trying to secure a gunner seat in a tank despite an enemy shooting at you, though it does beg the question why there aren't exit animations as well. And the animation of moving between a front and back gunner in a bomber, or even between the pilot seat and a gunner seat to do the job yourself, can be harrowing while speeding through the air. These animations add a sense of immersion to the game and make actions that were otherwise inconsequential more interesting. Whether you love it or hate it, teamwork is the basis of Battlefield 1, and without it your team is likely going to be the one to lose. It seems like DICE wanted both teamwork and the support for your fellow players to be at the forefront of the Battlefield 1 experience, and I feel like they've done a good job of promoting this. Teamwork has always been a strong staple of the Battlefield franchise, and Battlefield 1 looks to reward you heavily for your efforts. You're rewarded with a ton of points for supportive actions like giving health and ammo, reviving, taking out enemy armor, and revealing enemy locations to your team, and then you're also rewarded heavily for objective-based actions like capturing and defending flags, working toward a common marked objective with your squad, or working together to take down an enemy behemoth. Sure, kills of course get you points, and sure you can still do fine sitting on the outskirts of the map and sniping, but the game is built around and promotes a teamwork-oriented style of gameplay, and it does so very well. Now those of you who still play Battlefield 1 or played the game and enjoyed it, what do you feel like Battlefield 1 did right? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, this is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.